Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Pandora Theater. I'm Clint Schaffer.
And I'm Chad Weeks, and we're a couple guys who like movies and like to talk about movies. Clint, what movie are we going to watch this week?
Well, let me ask you a question, Chad. How many movies over the years have you had recommended to you that you just never got around to watching?
I can actually probably pull out the exact number, but to save time, I won't. Well over 100 that I have on a Google Doc that my wife and I share right now that we keep adding to and subtracting.
Wow.
So a lot.
Well, and I would assume a lot of you all out there probably have that same thing where you've had a lot of movies recommended to you and you're just not sure which ones to watch. So Chad and I thought that we would recommend a few of our favorites that you've probably never seen.
Yep, and we'll make it really easy for you to access them. We'll tell you exactly where you can stream them right now.
And with that, grab your popcorn,
fill up your drinks,
and enjoy the show. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Pandora Theater. So, Chad, we're going to be talking about a few of our favorite movies that are probably low-key good, right? But but a lot of folks have never seen before. So what kind of made you think about doing this episode?
Yeah, so it's an ongoing thing. Like I said, I talked about my wife and I, Kayla and I, we have that ongoing Google Doc, and it's really a great thing because there are so many movies out there that are so great that you just never get a chance to see because it's not as commercialized. Maybe it's an indie film. Maybe it's something that's just not. Maybe for some, like Boondock Saints is one.
Yeah.
Boondock Saints, I think it was eliminated from the theaters because of the Columbine stuff or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was taken out. So you never saw it in theaters. You never knew about it, but it became a cult classic. What's the one with Julia Roberts and Richard Gere? Well, all of them, right?
Say that's like
Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman, right?
Pretty Woman failed in the box offices, so you wouldn't have heard about it until somebody watched it, and then all of a sudden it blows up when it comes out to VHS or whatever. So there's a lot of reasons, but for some reasons these movies just haven't been heard or haven't been popular in our area, at least.
I think the exciting part about it too, it used to be, you and I growing up, if there was a movie that somebody recommended that, it was maybe hard to track down.
Yeah.
Pool Hall Junkies. Right?
Yes.
Kind of lands on that list. I think like the DVD is like almost impossible to come by.
Correct. I think it's like $60 on Amazon right now because I lost my copy, so I'm looking for one.
Well, I still have my copy, so
Yeah.
so it's a good thing. But it was funny because back in the day, if you and I wanted to watch something, it was make a trip to the 5 closest family videos in hopes that we could chase one down, right?
Yeah.
And now it makes it incredibly easy that heck, you can jump on Prime, Hulu, Netflix, HBO Max, insert whatever streaming service that you like. You know?
Streaming makes it very easy to watch movies right now, and they're very attainable, which is a great thing. But in some ways, don't you kind of wish that you could have that nostalgic feeling of going into the movie store and like picking out a movie for the weekend or picking out 3 movies for the night or something like that?
I tell you what, it's funny you bring that up, and that is an absolute hard no.
Really?
No.
Oh, man, I loved going to the movie store.
Nah. I mean, I like the movie store, don't get me wrong, but I mean, streaming is just significantly easier.
Oh, yeah, I get it, but I used to love it. I can still think of like back in high school, a buddy come over and it's like we're going to rent a video game, we're going to rent the Ninja Turtles game this week.
And how many late fees did you have?
Well, actually, when you started off, it was not that much.
You probably still have an outstanding.
I'm part of
Blockbuster.
I'm part of the reason that Blockbuster and Family Video went downhill because after you rack up a $50 late fee, it's like, all right, well, I'm just never going to come here again.
And that's the last time I'll see you.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I don't know. I just think it's so interesting. I guess I like the streaming part because. If you got, let's say if it's a random Saturday, it's raining, you pop open Netflix and you find some random movie that's been recommended to you a million times and you finally have time to watch it. And I think like the older that we all get, time is of the essence, right? I mean, it's tough to find time to squeeze in those movies. That's why I think I like the streaming service because it's just there at your fingertips.
I get that. I'm a sucker for that nostalgic feeling of walking in and actually picking out a movie and that sort of thing. We used to have to call in and reserve it for Friday night because, whatever. Anyway, but so here's another question: how do you determine what movies you're actually going to watch? Because all those movies, because you're going to get recommendations across the board from a bunch of different people, and you'll see it.
A lot of people have really bad taste in movies.
Correct.
First off.
Correct.
And I think the more that you and I have delved into this, more that even like Matt and I doing the poster, things of that nature that really force you to watch a lot of good movies.
Yep.
You really start to find out like what truly is a good movie and what's probably just and bad movies can still be fun. And I always like to remind people of that, right? Fantastic Four. Absolutely terrible movie, but it was fun, and I like to watch it.
Very
right?
fun. Wolf Cop. You want to talk about a terrible movie that I absolutely love? It is horrible, but I absolutely love Wolf Cop.
So the first thing that we do, and that's Devin, Kelly, and I, we always like look at the rating, right?
Yep.
And if you recommend a movie, and I look on IMDb, and it's probably anything below a 6. Yeah. I'm going to start probably pumping the brakes on whether I'm going to watch it. Now, with that said, me personally, I've probably ran into a few that are probably 5.5s that I've watched that.
So, and the thing is, like, I'm not a critic guy that I believe in what the critics say or anything like that. I have one website with JoBlo.com, JOBLO. Is actually the website that I go to most often for the reviews, just to see what their thoughts are. If they, if I'm up in the air about how a movie is going to be. But the thing is, like, there's so many movies out there that you have to have some way of vetting them. So that's what it is. So Kayla and I do the same thing. If it's above a 6 on IMDb, and IMDb specifically, because I feel like
IMDb is the only rating that is consistent.
Yep, because that's just viewers, people like us watching movies and saying this is what I want or this is what I think it was. I don't like the critics because, again, then you get all those movies like Roma that they give it a 10 and it's stupid. Roma was stupid.
Well, it goes back to...
I wonder how many times in this podcast I'm going to say that Roma was stupid.
At least twice. So. I mean, but it does. It goes back to our Oscar comments of just because you get an Oscar doesn't mean it's a good movie.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Quite frankly, I think Nomadland winning Best Picture was an absolute travesty this year. I think there was significantly
solid
better
movie, but
yeah. But no, I don't believe the critics either. I'd rather see the collective.
Yep.
And see what we all think. But speaking of websites, where can our viewers go or our listeners go to buy these awesome hats that we have on?
Yeah, so the hats are kind of a perk, actually. I don't even know. I mean, they might be for sale or whatever, but they're kind of a merchandising perk. But my mom actually started Below the Bluff Designs, which is kind of like a brand that she's creating. But you remember that knife rack that I got at my house?
Yeah.
That really, she calls it primitive. She does a lot of these primitive like knife racks and stuff like that. She's got some really cool like she'll do Christmas stuff and that sort of thing. But anyway, go to Below the Bluff Designs on Facebook, and that's where you'll find her page. And she's just getting started, but she's done really well on Etsy. There's some really cool stuff out there.
She must be doing well to sponsor a high class podcast like this.
What I'm saying.
Well, I tell you what, Julie has always been one of the most creative minds that
she really is.
That
I always
across,
had the best costumes for Halloween when I was a kid.
I remember when she painted Savannah's room and she did like the Lion King stuff and all that.
Had the Bone and Pumbaa and all that stuff. Little bugs on all the windows. Man, it was good.
Well, hey, back to the movies. Let's jump in. So Chad and I put a few together that we both have. Some of these we've both seen. Some of them that only one or the other has seen. So let's just jump right into it. So I'm gonna start first if you're good with that.
Let's hear it.
I'm gonna jump in and say a movie that you need to watch that is fun, and this is specifically it's fun. It is rated, I believe, a 6.9 on IMDb, so a decent rating.
Okay. It's real nice.
Released in 2021, so I know a lot of people like to watch current movies, and this is a current movie, but it's Boss Level. And this is...
I've heard about this one. I think you've told me to watch this one, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's fun. It falls in the line of the infinite time loop, right? The Groundhog Day.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
I think last time we talked about this, you brought up Palm Springs, which is another one that I watched.
Oh, man. I should have had that on my list. That's
good
a
movie.
Great one. Yeah.
Andy Samberg.
Yes.
Yeah, so we watched that one, too, which was really fun. But Boss Level's a really fun aspect because if you're at all on a... video game level, action level, like it's really packed with that kind of feel. It's not about video games. It's just very action packed and very like step oriented. But it's got a awesome cast. So the main guy is the guy that played Crossbones. Yeah, in the Avengers, Frank Grillo.
Yep.
And then the other one is
He's going to be big. I feel like he's really just starting to step it up as.
Yeah, well, he plays Crossbones, and he could play like the Punisher as well, right?
Yeah.
John
Bernthal.
Yeah,
Bernthal's
he's like
really
another guy like him.
He really is. Yeah.
But also in this movie, the main bad guy is Mel Gibson.
I saw that he was in it. And I love him as the antagonist too. Like that's a great role for him to play. I feel like Mel Gibson just getting back in the spotlight is so great, just for movies in general.
No, and he plays an awesome role in this. Great bad guy. A couple other actors are in there as well. But the other one is Gronk. Gronk is in it.
So what role does Gronk play in that?
Gronk literally sits in a helicopter with a minigun, and he's the first guy that's shooting at him every morning.
So this is actually a video game movie. So,
well, no, I mean he's just always like he wakes up and like these people are attacking him. He basically has this whole group of assassins that are after him. That he's basically has to defeat each individual assassin at the end.
Yeah.
And then ultimately has a boss level, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's this whole thing.
Now I think I remember the trailers a little bit more.
Yeah, but he has to learn, how to beat this assassin and this one and this one and this one, right?
So this is more like Live Today or Live Die Repeat. What's that one with Tom Cruise?
Yeah, with Tom Cruise. Yeah, and it's actually it's kind of neat because the storyline even they're developing this machine, and essentially his girlfriend has knew that he was the only one that could probably save her from what was happening. So she kind of initiated this whole thing, and so it's actually got a good spin to it. Really fun. There's a bunch of comedy into it. It's gory as can be. I mean, there's like a bunch of blood and guts in this.
I'm assuming
thing.
It's that kind of dark humor that Mel Gibson's been known to bring lately. That kind of.
Yeah, but it's also like there's just some funny. I mean, it's got Gronk in it, so I mean,
good
point.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's just some like funny ways that people die and things of that nature. He starts doing like the whole like groundhog thing where he can start, knowing what they're gonna say, knowing what they're gonna do because he has to do this thing like 100 and sometimes, right?
Yep.
But ultimately, in the very end, there's a fun little spin.
No spoilers here, right?
A little bit of a spoiler, but nothing horrible.
They got to watch the movie though.
I know, but nothing terrible. It's just what I'm saying is at the very end, it just gets significantly more risky for him.
Oh yeah.
And I enjoy that spin on it.
Yeah.
So the ending has a really cool hook that I enjoy.
So like in Live Repeat or Live Die Repeat, where he's basically like, this is the last chance because.
Yeah. That.
Okay, so
that's a good spin on it.
Yeah. But anyway, so okay, then feeding off of that, let's go to another Groundhog Day style one. Source Code.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal. I believe you've seen this one as well.
I have seen this one, but this has been a while. So
yes. Okay.
I think this is only a single watch for me too. So.
Yep. I wish I would have wrote down the gal's name.
This is when they're on the train, right?
Yes. So I wish I would have wrote down the gal's name. Can we put it up here because she put on she was like the his accomplice in this sort of thing. So basically, what it is he's a fighter pilot, a helicopter pilot that is in a situation where he is basically trying to recreate in some sort of future technology where he's basically trying to recreate an event, a terrorist event that basically destroys this train. But in order to stop the next event from happening, he has to figure out who caused the train event. So basically, that's kind of the premises of it. But he's basically leaping into somebody else's body to do this. And there's a lot of, like, first off, he has to figure out what's going on, and then he has to keep doing the same.
Right, because they have a body in the building, don't they? Like that they're working off of.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
So he was a survivor of the train that they're basically using as a vessel, right?
Correct,
That's
exactly.
right.
So yeah, they're using his life,
remember that,
his body to try and like project him into these other people and somehow recreate this thing, this instance, and ultimately he has to keep going until he can solve this riddle. So it's very cool and it's very. I just love that we got these Groundhog Day things going on. There's every one of them I'm feeling like I'm in.
There's
Even
a lot
Happy
of them.
Death Day, those are great.
Yeah, I actually enjoy a lot of these because they are they're all similar, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you also get a lot of unique little twists. Like again, back to Palm Springs. Palm Springs had a fun little story too.
Yeah.
So hey, we're just gonna throw that on our list now.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Go
that
watch
is
Palm Springs.
the honorary 11th because that's a great one.
What was Source Code rated?
Source Code got a 7.5 on IMDb.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's up there.
It really
I would
is.
say that's a higher than normal.
Yep,
right?
absolutely. Anything over 7 is absolutely going to be
Yeah.
fantastic,
Yeah.
and it really was. It was a great movie. And again, I'd never even heard of this movie. I don't know when it was released, but my wife and I found it on a list.
Had to be like mid 2000s,
somewhere around there.
or
I'm going to throw it out there and say
maybe?
2011,
11. Okay.
but I'm not sure about that one.
Right.
But
Well, this is the actual date right there.
there it is.
Every time I do that, I have to edit stuff,
Yeah.
so it just makes more time for me.
Can you put whether I'm right or wrong up here, because I feel like the chat is wrong from the last one.
I
Anyway.
don't know if we've had a chat as right yet.
No, I don't know that we have. Oh, we've been right. We just haven't put it up on the screen.
What's
Like-
nice is anytime I'm wrong, I just edit the whole thing out. So that's
Touche.
All right, well, hold on. Actually, we forgot to talk about this. Boss Level, by the way, you can watch on Hulu, so that's where it's streaming
yes.
today. So
Yep. So Source Code you can watch on Showtime. Showtime streaming and all that stuff. So yeah.
All right. Well, hey, the next one I'm going to jump to on my list is going to be a fun 1995 film starring Timothy Roth. And this is going to be Four Rooms. And Four Rooms is this nice little gem that's basically all about this bellboy, this bellhop in this hotel, and it's all the events that happen throughout this hotel. And essentially, there's 4 rooms that are the key focal points and 4 stories, but it's actually directed by 4 individual people.
Yep.
So a couple of these you will have heard of. So it starts out with, or they have Alexander Rockwell, Allison Anders, Robert Rodriguez. And then the last one, I believe, is Quentin Tarantino. It directed the very last part of that. And go figure, the best one, in my opinion.
Man,
is
it is
still
so
Quentin
good. Like that
Tarantino,
is
so.
that fourth one alone. Like if you fast forward through the first 3 and just watch the fourth one, like that is a great, probably a 30-minute movie or whatever. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So, I mean,
It's got Bruce Willis.
Each of these are like little movies in them, you know, little short films, but they all come together in basically, you know, kind of one story arc. 1995. You can stream it right now for free on IMDb with ads. And speaking of IMDb, that actually only got rated a 6.8.
Really?
I was actually shocked about that. I thought that'd be a little bit higher. But to Chad's point, the fourth scene or the fourth story is Tarantino's. It just involves a cleaver and a Zippo lighter and a convertible car. And that's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
But I got to say that is I would probably put that up there as one of my favorite all-time movie scenes.
I would say so too. Just scenes alone, absolutely.
Just scenes, single scenes alone, that's one of my
just
favorite
throwing it out there.
scenes.
Can you think of what is your favorite movie scene right now? Just out of the, I always go to No Country for Old Men as my favorite like interaction in a movie. Like one of my favorite scenes, like that whole scene where he's at the gas station and he's buying gas. And,
that is a good,
it is so tense, and there's nothing really being said. There's so much any underlying tones, but there's always just being. It's not evident, but everybody knows what's happening right here. Call it.
Yeah.
Great.
No,
Great scene.
that's a good scene. I to say individual scene, man, I don't know. I'd have to think. about
put you on
that
the
for a
spot
while.
real hard on
yeah,
that.
that's
one.
I'm
I
not-
was chomping at
I'm
the
not
bit to
gonna
give it up.
make I'm not making a claim on that.
Yeah,
one.
I'm always wanting to use that situation. But so a couple things about that movie. First off, Timothy Roth could be on a list of actors that you know, but you probably don't recognize. You know, don't know his name because he's in a ton of movies. You know, he was in Hulk and that sort of thing. But he's in a ton of movies. You see him all the time, but you
Reservoir
don't know.
Dogs. He's
Yep. He's a big Tarantino advocate. But I also want to say, do you know which directors did which section of the movie? Because the first one was, the second one was the witches, right?
I couldn't.
And I would assume that is the Anne. You say
Allison Anders or
And there-
Alexander Rockwell.
I would say Allison Anders would be the witches, and I'm going to assume that Robert Rodriguez did the one with the couple
Killed in the bed.
Yep.
Yeah. That's who I would probably pin.
And then the
Rodriguez
first one,
on.
I don't remember the first one though, or what the other one was. I don't remember the fourth room.
It's been
so long,
man.
But yeah, definitely need to watch that movie.
Yeah,
It's a
no,
great
it's like I said, it's well worth a watch. So,
so I guess I will go with one of my favorites, Tucker and Dale versus the Evil.
I just remember the very first time you told me to watch that, and I did, and I was so incredibly happy I did so.
It is. So the reason I watched it is, again, another movie recommendation from a movie fan of mine. I think it was Dacian Hawk, actually. Remember Dacian?
Yeah.
But anyway, we watched. I watched Cabin in the Woods, which not Cabin Fever, because a lot of people get Cabin Fever and Cabin in the Woods. Cabin Woods could possibly be on this list, but it wasn't. I couldn't find it on a streaming service.
Because that one, that's where they had like all the stuff in the basement of the cabin, right?
Yes, right?
And,
Exactly. It's basically
it kind of had a fun little like
it's basically
lighthearted appeal to it, right?
It did. It was very dark, but it was also like a fun spin on like the government has to sacrifice these people, these kids, and they have to do all this. Chris Hemsworth, and it was one of my favorite movies. Like, I love that movie. But anyway, after I watched it, I was just simply smitten with it, and
simply smitten. I can't let you just go roll through that out without stopping.
I feel like that should be on like a woman's coffee cup or something like that. Anyway. After I watched it, a friend of mine said, you need to watch Tucker and Dale versus the Evil. Okay, so Tucker and Dale versus the Evil is a compounding accidental movie. So like it's all these series of unfortunate events that lead to one step further. It's basically
almost like how Jar Jar Binks saved the war.
Yes, that is exactly what it is. Yes, that is exactly what it is. So it's constantly getting like little things that get worse and worse, and next thing you know, you've got this group of kids that are these preppy kids, and I want to also acknowledge the fact that the biggest loser in the group, the one that the leader of the kids, that's actually like the pop collar preppy absolute loser. His name is Chad, which is also like the Chad.
He's a total Chad.
Yeah, he's a total Chad. Yeah. God, Google that one. But anyway, but the thing is, it keeps getting worse. So it starts off with him trying to talk to girls, these pretty young girls, and he walks up and talks to them, and he's like, just tell him to smile a lot, and he walks up and he starts smiling, but he doesn't really say anything. So there's just this hulking man that walks up with
doesn't he have a sigh or
a sigh or a pitchfork, something like that, and he just starts.
and he's of course in like
hillbilly attire,
So.
And there's just a couple guys that are going out to renovate their cabin in the woods, and anyway, these kids start thinking of their murderers. And it is such a clever and fun movie that you will love every second of it.
I think it's like one of those, like, because the two actors, Tucker and Dale, the one guy is the Rowley guy in A Knight's Tale.
No.
Right?
Oh yeah, Rowley guy. Yeah.
Like the Rowley guy.
Yeah. I was thinking of Paul Bettany, the barker.
No.
Yeah.
I'm going to flog you.
Pain. Lots of pain.
Lots of pain.
Yeah, exactly. That is.
That's a
no clue what his name is.
Great movie.
We should throw his name up there too.
Yeah, we can do that. But him and then the other guy, their acting in this is what made the movie to me.
I agree.
Like, they are so fun and just kind of out there, but it's like very believable in their like. I mean, because these two are like good-hearted guys that are just now getting pinpointed as murderers.
It's believable, but it's also a suspension of belief, because there's a scene where he's trying to pull him out of the wood chipper. And somebody else sees it, so they think he's shoving him in the wood chipper. It's stupid, but it's so good.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean believable like this story. I just meant like they're very good-hearted people.
Oh yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
What's it rated?
Let's see. That is a 7.5 again.
7.5. You're just knocking down.
Yeah,
the
I got a lot of
7.5s
7.5s on my list. So
I've hit 2 in the 6s so far. So. Where can you watch that one?
That one is on Prime, actually.
Oh,
so it's very accessible. Yeah, Prime's easy.
Prime has to be about the most. I think that has to at some point has to be more accessible than even Netflix.
I would think so, because you got to have. I mean, you got to get your stuff right.
Yeah, everybody's got to have Prime, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go to the next one. This is an emotional one. This is not not a fun.
Turning it down a bit.
Yeah, not a fun movie. I've seen it actually a couple times, so I mean there is some rewatchability there. But it's called Beautiful Boy, and it's with Steve Carell.
This is the one with Tyrese, Baby Boy, right? With no.
What?
You seen the
No.
movie by Baby Boy of Tyrese?
No. This is Steve Carell and Timothy Chalamet.
Yep.
There you go.
He's the kid. He's the kid from like The King or The Prince or whatever it was.
He's Steve Carell's kid in this one.
Okay, great
And-
actor.
Yeah, no,
he's got a bright
phenomenal.
future.
Yeah, phenomenal. And the interesting part about this is it's based on a true story, and essentially it's like every parent's nightmare. And that's why it's really hard to watch, and there's like a lot of emotion to it. It's basically about this kid who was a fantastic kid growing up, smart kid. Kind of took a turn for the worse and got hooked on opioids, and then ultimately goes down the path of heroin addiction.
Really?
And it is
That's going to speak to a lot of people.
yeah, it's hard to watch, right?
Yeah.
And basically the entire piece of this is you're watching how that opioid epidemic is not only harmful to the person who's addicted, but it also is horrible for the family who has to go along with this, right? It actually reminds me a lot. I'm just thinking of the last podcast you and I did, The Father, right? Kind of had that same kind of piece to it. I would say there's some connection between this movie and that on how you see both sides of it. And you just watch, and it's through like several years, right? So I mean, it's painful to watch at that point, but it is fantastic. It opens up your eyes to just that world, right? And just some of the ways they're thinking when they're in that addiction, and again, like a lot of the families.
What year did this come out? Because I
2018.
Clint and I shared our lists with each other, briefly, just to make sure we didn't overlap. But I had no clue. This one was one that I just I haven't even heard of it. I have no clue where it's at.
It's funny. This is how I ended
Where
up.
did you watch it?
I watched it on an airplane.
Oh, okay.
So
randomly chose this.
No, not randomly. That's what's actually interesting. I was traveling for work, and a colleague of mine said was sitting there talking about watching this on the plane on the previous plane.
I love it when you get a good recommendation you can pass on.
I had this recommendation. I was hearing about how passionate he was when he was watching this. And so I was jumping on my next plane, and I popped in my headphones and ended up watching this. And then I wanted to watch this. This is also a good, it's tough to watch again, but it's a good educational piece. So my family and I watch this as well. And this is just some of those watch outs.
Don't do drugs, Devin. Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs, right? But it's also like one time of doing something like this can lead you down that path, right? I mean, it's not a get out of jail free card. It's you literally may go down that rabbit hole. So,
and where can you watch this one?
This one is actually on Prime as well. This is my first 7 in the 7s here, so it is rated as 7.3. Again, Steve Carell, very serious role in this.
Steve
There is
Carell.
no joking here.
That's crazy. It's funny to see these comedians in here. And again, Clint and I didn't share our lists, but I have one that feeds off of that one perfectly because it's a very similar situation, but it's a lot opposite in the same sense. So we need to talk about Kevin. Is a movie.
So the name of it is We Need to Talk About Kevin.
The name of the movie is We Need to Talk About Kevin. It's 7.5, and you can watch it on Hulu right now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give a trigger alert or whatever it is, but if you're this is not twisted. It is a dark movie. It is dark, and it is something that is a lot like what you're talking about, but this one is very it's tough. It's tough to watch.
What's it around?
Okay, so it's about there's a lot of they Tarantino it a lot, so they go back and forth. So they start off the movie at the end where it's a mother, Tilda Swinton, and she's just basically at current times where she's just talking about all these sad times. You can tell that she's just very very sad, very distraught about something. And then it goes into her raising her son, and her son, who's Ezra Miller eventually, does something terrible throughout within her life, which affects everybody, okay? The father in here is John C. Reilly. And again, this is the exact same thing. So John C. Reilly is a comedian, but he is not funny at all in this movie. There's no humor whatsoever from him. There is not a single laugh to be had in this movie, but it's about a mother who her son basically hates her. I mean, absolutely loathes and despises her. And he's just one of those bad kids, but he loves his father, and his father doesn't see it. So his father and him get along great. And his sister, little sister, absolutely loves him, but he's just a bad kid. And it's, this building towards something, but you don't know what throughout the time. And they go forward and backwards throughout here so much. And it goes into some of her dreams about when she was younger and like the things that she did, like she was running with the bulls and all these things, like living a great life. And now she
has to deal with this, like,
now here she is,
devil of a kid.
Now, well, not even that. Now she's at the point where she's just shut down completely and doesn't even want to like exist. And you'll see it, like they start off like they are throwing paint on her house, and a lady at the grocery store just smashes all her legs. Somebody punches her in the mouth.
Jeez.
Yes. And
so a hard watch, though.
Movie to watch. You'll only want to watch it once, but man, you got to watch it once. Like, it is so good. It is such a great movie, great tale. And again, this is on Hulu right now, so great film. But again, I feel like it feeds off of yours a lot, where it's the similar type of situation where it's very dark, but also. And you got comedians playing the same role, so yeah.
Well, and like, I think there's something about some of those where, when the darkness is real, right? Like it's not a
this is very real.
It's not a ghost or something. I mean, like these are like real things that people fight. I think it just becomes more relatable, more intimate when you're watching that. I don't know. I just think that there's something about that.
Yeah, this is a very I don't want to go too much further into it because I don't want to give away anything, but it's...
No, I get it.
Watch it.
All right. Well, hey, with that, we're actually going to take a slight intermission because we're going to fill up our drinks here, and then we'll be back with the rest of our list.
I dig it.
All right. Stay tuned. And we're back. So thank you for holding with us here. We had to go and refill our drinks here.
The necessities.
So, yeah. I mean, when you do this much talking, you got to keep the old pipes lubricated.
Absolutely.
So I tell you what, Chad, we've talked about a lot of good movies here. So just to recap, at least the first part of this, we went through Boss Level, which is pretty fun and light.
Yep.
We went through Tucker and Dale, which again, pretty fun and light.
Yeah.
We went to the Four Rooms, which kind of is a fun little fun little twist there. Source Code, another good get you thinking and everything. And then we hit two really deep ones with A Beautiful Boy, and we need to talk about Kevin. I mean, that's
again, we didn't plan this list, conversate about this list. You made your list, I made mine, and it's funny that they have that kind of feeding off of each other type of thing.
I know I got Tucker and Dale and Source Code mixed up. I should have went Boss Level and then Source Code, which is how we actually talked about it. But
it is what it is.
Yeah. So okay, so let's get into the last few here. I'm gonna go into a 2010 movie. 7 on IMDb.
I thought we were gonna talk about 7. I'm like, everybo's seen 7. Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt.
No, a 7 on IMDb.
Yeah.
A whole number.
Yeah.
The heck.
Yeah. Exactly. Rookie numbers.
Rookies. But anyway, and that is this is also what I would also call it was almost like a meme movie. Right, because it kind of got a little traction here over the course of the pandemic, and this is the movie is Buried, featuring Ryan Reynolds. But again,
just Ryan Reynolds, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Do they have any flashbacks in there or anything?
Yeah. There's the voice is Robert Pattinson.
Yeah,
or Patterson.
Patterson or Patterson?
Patterson.
Patterson.
Patterson, Robert Patterson.
Okay.
Patterson's
the new Batman.
Yeah, that's the new Batman. But no, that's the only other guy that's basically the voice.
Okay.
And then you have the bad guy, the terrorist voice. But I think
so. They got voices, but I'm just saying, did they have any actual videos of going back?
Yeah, because I think don't you see his wife and everything at the very beginning and things.
I feel like you should, because I remember hearing her voice.
Yeah, no, there's flashbacks.
Okay,
there's flashbacks, but it's primarily Ryan Reynolds. I mean, that's the whole thing. So, so the premise of this, he is a contractor working in I want to say Iraq, right? Is that Iraq or Afghanistan?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, he's a truck driver, but he's a civilian, and he gets caught by the terrorist, and essentially they want ransom money, but they bury him alive with I don't know, what do you have, like a flashlight and a cell phone, or a lighter and a cell phone, I think. And basically they keep calling him, and he has to continue to call his people back in the United States.
Yeah.
His contractor, employer and everything else. And basically it's a matter of time, they have a limited amount of time to find him. So, and throughout this, like there's, the casket starts breaking, which starts leaking sand in. So there's also a time thing there. He's running out of oxygen. It's very, you know what it reminded me? Open Water 2. Did you ever watch that?
No, you talk about Open Water. I've seen Open Water, but you talk about Open Water 2. I'd like to know what the IMDb score is on Open Water 2.
No, it's got to be terrible. But what? No, the reason why I say that, hold on.
Yeah.
The reason why I compare it is because there's a sense of anxiety throughout the entire movie, right?
Yeah.
So Open Water 2, they basically jump off the boat and they can't get back in their boat because their boat sits out of the water.
Which is what Open Water 1 was, too.
Oh, was it? I've never seen it.
I mean, I don't know how they got in the water, but they were stuck in the water for forever. And next thing you know, there's it's like, oh, we're getting stung by jellyfish. And then, and it's just.
But it's just that anxiety. Like, you just have anxiety the entire time.
Totally. Is there anything, is there more anxiety wrapped around anything more than being buried alive type of?
No, and especially buried alive, like in a foreign country with nobody around, right? Mm-hmm. But I will state, like it's fun, not fun, but it's a good. The pace is good and everything else. The other piece of that, I loved the ending. Thought the ending was absolutely amazing.
I don't want to go into the ending.
No, we can't go into the ending. I'm just telling you.
If I remember right,
the ending alone makes the movie.
I think if I remember right, we'll talk off camera to make sure I do, because it's been a long time and I remember watching it, but I don't remember the ending to be something like really significant that I can.
It was definitely okay. The ending is like I said, the ending makes the movie.
Okay,
but,
all right. So here's my story about that movie. I actually bought that DVD because Ryan Reynolds, and it's like, but then I started watching it, and it's like, I don't think I can watch this, and I shut it off. And like, I'm talking like, what year did this come out?
2010, yeah.
2010. And then I just didn't watch it again until probably 2 years ago, something like that.
Wow.
And I watched it with my wife again. I'm like, I just got to get through this. She's like, you're not going to like this movie. You're not going to be, because I'm one of those, like, when I was a kid, if I would get my shirt stuck over my head when I was taking it off, I would panic. So
when he says as a kid, he meant earlier today.
Yes, exactly. Still a kid at heart, so it doesn't matter. But
well, no, you and I have talked about this on movies when they're in caves.
Yeah.
Right? And like there's always just an anxiety that, I don't know, I don't like those.
The Descent is probably the best horror movie of all time. And I was actually thinking about putting this on my list, but I want to save it for a Halloween one, because The Descent is the best scary movie of all time. I'm going to throw that out there.
One of the best endings.
Yes, I agree. I agree with
Hook, line, and sinker on that ending.
Yes. Man, that's a great movie. So
what's your next one?
My next one, you really didn't give me anything to compare to that one, so there's nothing like similar that I have. So let's just go with the one I love.
The one I love.
So you have not seen this one, right?
Yeah, and knowing you, this is going to be like, what is this? Like an offshoot of The Notebook or something?
No, actually, it is not. It's nothing like that. I do love The Notebook, but like, don't.
You like those sappy movies.
I do like sappy movies. I like sad country songs. I like sappy movies. But no, this is actually kind of. I'm not going to say a thriller, but it's kind of a thriller. So it's Mark Duplass. So Mark Duplass,
What's he playing?
He plays in the League.
Okay.
So he's like the guy in the League. I can't remember. Three Pete's. So he was Pete. Yeah, he's like the head. Yeah,
I know.
It's just decided. Yeah. It's Pete. But he's also plays in a lot of movies that you'd want. Like Paddington is another great movie that I could have probably put on this one.
Yeah.
Have you seen Paddington?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's a great movie as well. Yeah. So, but him and Elizabeth Moss, who Elizabeth Moss is, she's the woman from The Invisible Man. What?
You're not talking about Paddington the bear, are you?
No.
That's what I was thinking of.
Okay, yeah. No, not Paddington
I've
the
seen
bear.
that one.
Yeah. Okay, I've not seen Paddington the bear. I wondered.
I didn't remember that guy in there. But
yeah, no. Paddington. So this movie it stars Ray Romano and Mark Duplass, and it's basically about a guy that's dying from cancer.
Oh, okay.
Not the bear.
No, okay.
I wondered why you looked at me for so long. Like,
I was just sitting there thinking, I'm like, I think I may have misread that situation.
Yeah, that's why I was really surprised you'd seen it, because like nobody's seen Paddington. But That didn't make my list, but anyway, this one did. So Mark Duplass, he's a great actor, and I love it. This movie, I'm going to call it a thriller, but it's basically about a couple. Ted Danson. Ted Danson is their therapist or their psychiatrist or whatever, a therapist, I think, and they're going through marital problems. And basically, he advises them. He makes them play a key on a piano, and then advises them to go out on a weekend at his cabin. Okay. So while they're at this cabin, they go to the guest house, and while they're there, they find I won't say a duplicate of their spouse, but they find like a version of their. Yeah, I mean, it's basically a version of their spouse that is idealized. So it's like the best things, like everything they want their spouse to be in this, and they can't. And like when the other person comes there, they can't see. So there's a lot of stuff that plays into it. It is very mind-boggling, and I don't want to go again. I don't want to go too far into this one because I want you to be able to
I'm
play it.
I'm assume like it's going to say like at the end there's the lesson to be learned that you got to take the good with the bad, and you kind of want the whole package and not just the best parts. Is that kind of where it comes into?
You never know.
That's why I'm going to put a guess out there.
That's a good guess, but I don't know. But no, it's a great movie. Elizabeth Moss from the Invisible Man is the woman. So it's basically 4 people in here, and Ted Danson. And honestly, like let's talk about that too. It's just this couple, and then they have one more person in there. You talked about Ryan Reynolds in Buried. I think that if you can carry a movie by being trapped in a coffin or something like that, or just be you and another person, something like that.
Or like a castaway on an island.
Correct. Castaway, I Am Legend, where he's just talking to a dog the whole time. That is a great acting thing. Like that's really cool that you can do that.
Yeah, it's funny. I just seen another meme on this, and I've been hearing this more lately. Which and we talked about this on, can't remember the movie that we were thinking of, Judas and the Black Messiah. The guy who has the punchable face. You know what we're talking about?
Yeah, put his picture up here.
I know, yeah.
So everybody else can want to punch their...
But I just seen the guy who played Littlefinger in Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
And somebody said, like, no matter what, they'll never be able to trust this guy. And really it comes down to when actors are just that good, like, you do like the guys that you hate the most of the time, they probably played the role absolutely amazing.
So you talk about that, and I want to go off on this one a little bit here because I think about whenever I think of that. You ever seen the movie Hard Candy?
I know what you're talking about, but no, I don't think
I tried to find that. I was going to put that one on my list, but I couldn't find it on a streaming service. So I wanted it to be on my list. So I'm glad you brought it up. Or not you, but anyway, gave me an opportunity to bring it up because the guy on there, and I don't know what his name is, but he is such a hateable guy. Like, I hated him in that movie because he's basically like a 40-year-old man trying to pick up like a 15-year-old girl is what it basically comes down to. And you hate him so much in here that it is hard for me to watch the subsequent movies that he's been in because he was like Owlman in The Watchmen. So he's done some, but every time it's like, you're that guy from that thing.
Yeah, it is funny because I think that's why people
get typecast.
Yeah, you get typecast, and there are probably good typecast and bad typecast, right? And and I think there's people that struggle with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To get out of being that hated person, and I think that's why you see the same people playing the villain over and over and over because once they get good at it, it's just you're good at it.
Yep.
But yes. Okay, so how about you kick into your last one?
Okay, my last one. It's not readily streamable unless you have Hoopla, which I don't even know what Hoopla is.
It is for rent for $2.99 on Prime.
But $2.99 on Prime or Vudu or whatever.
It's worth $2.99.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. This one is just spend the $2.99 and watch this movie. So I kind of want to talk about this one a lot because it's Vince Vaughn. Okay, so again, it's Vince Vaughn and
big, angry, bald Vince Vaughn.
Yes, he is a drug mule that is put in prison. He gets out of prison, I believe, and or something. Maybe I'm off on that part, but I just remember him coming home and his wife, girlfriend, whatever she was, had cheated on him, and he tells her to go in the house because he's just absolutely furious. And then he rips apart her car and just destroys it. And and it is such a cool scene because you just see the power of the guy first off, but it's also like it's a believable, and I feel like that's where the whole thing comes in. Is this, you can tell that this guy is very strong, he's a boxer style, but he's also very believably strong. He's just the guy that like he
looks it.
He's like just a big hulking guy. Yeah. He's very slow with his mannerisms and his delivery. But if you try and punch him, he's going to dip, duck, and dive, and then catch it. Which another Vince Vaughn movie.
Well, it's also it's a revenge story too, right? Doesn't something happen to like his daughter?
No. It's
wife
not
or something.
No. So basically, what it is he gets so far in. So he basically says that I want to go back to the drug business and be a drug mule for this guy, and I can't remember what his name is. I want to say it's Don Johnson is actually the we can put up here if it's not, but I think Don Johnson is actually the main antagonist, and what he does is he keeps working his way up the ranks for him and makes him and his wife live a great life. They were doing great. They're pregnant, about to have a baby, and he gets caught because he goes off on a job with a couple other guys that he doesn't normally work with. They kill some cops.
He actually, you see the good side of him too, right?
Correct.
Even though he's a bad guy.
He defends the bad guys and like shoots the guys that killed the cops. And anyway, but he still goes to jail, and he's like in a medium security prison. But the thing is, he has to work his way in. Like basically, they tell him he has to kill somebody in prison, or they're going to I think it's actually they're going to cut his baby's arms off.
That's what I'm saying. It was something. It was like a revenge story.
It's kind of a revenge. Yes, yeah. Exactly. But he has to do this job. So what he has to do is he has to start at medium security prison and work his way down into the highest level security. And you can tell
cell block 99 of the maximum security prison.
Yep,
right?
Exactly. And so you start off with just a normal prison, normal jail that you would see, whatever. And then it goes into basically a dungeon style prison where they're basically trying to torture people. And that's what. But the thing that I really want to mention is the fighting scenes, because I can't stand it when you see, and I love these movies, but like if you look at like the Dark Knight series and look at like the Batman, everything's so fast you don't even know what's happening. But this is such a slow, no music to ramp you up. It is just him, and like the music cuts, and it's just like, I'm going to fight these two guys, and I'm going to duck, and I'm going to do this. It is so cool, the choreography. I love the fight scenes so much.
We just watched Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr., and he just you talk about the slow down fight scene, and I love it as he takes you through like the punches and like what it's going to do to somebody, and then they speed it up and they do it right. But
disable solar plexus.
Yeah, but it's that type of fighting style where it's a little, you actually get to see everything kind of happening.
Correct.
So
I like that so much more than what we do with the one that I always think of is Jennifer Lawrence in The Hunger Games.
Oh yeah,
like it's a very violent book, but like all the movies, like you can't hardly see what's going on the entire time.
There's another. I wanted to play off of the Brawlin' Cell Block 99. There's another one out there on. It used to be on Netflix, and I can't remember the name. I'll have to put it up here. But it's starring Jamie Lannister, the guy who plays Jamie Lannister, right? And he has to work his way throughout it's a revenge story, and he's got to work his way through the prison system as well. And there's some very slick crossovers there probably between the two, but it's not half bad.
Yeah, it seems like I remember this one too, but I can't quite put
it ain't up there like that one.
No.
What did this get rated?
That is a 7.1.
7.1,
but I would put it as my highest recommendation of these movies.
Yeah, I think that the reason why you say that is because it's probably the one that people have watched the least up there to a certain aspect, right?
That, but also like I feel like it is the movie that is most suited for this podcast. If you're a person that just really likes movies,
I don't know, Tucker and Dale might be up there for this
podcast. One of those two. But I would agree. Either one of those could be at the top of my list, and I would say because I would give both of those movies probably at least 9s. Yeah, I'll give them 9s.
So the last one I'm going to go with is going to be. I saved this one for last just because I just watched it here the other day. First off, and I got to set this up a little bit. This is a Hindi movie, right?
Yep.
So this would be the traditional Bollywood movie. And it's actually the high to say it's a movie that people haven't seen before. It's the highest grossing Bollywood film in India. So
Yeah.
I mean, this thing's huge.
Tell us you're an American without telling us you're an American.
Yeah, right there, right. But anyway, things that you may need to understand first. This movie is going to be in Hindi. It's going to have American subtitles, so you are going to be reading this, for a majority of it. But the guy who stars in it is Amir Khan, who is the same guy who was in the Three Idiots.
Yep.
Huge movie
Bahubali
star
too, right?
No.
Okay,
That's a Tamil. That's not Hindi.
Okay.
It's a different area of.
That's one I haven't got to yet. But
I think they call that Tollywood.
Really?
Yeah, I'd have to go check. But there's actually different regions within India, and they have different types of movies that they put out.
Okay. All right.
So
Learning
anyway,
something.
Bahubali
We're learning
is actually
something
in
here
there.
too today.
Yeah. I've had to look up a few things here, but anyway, the movie is Dangal, and Dangal, and I think I'm pronouncing that right. That is actually Hindi for wrestler. And so what this is all about, it's basically about a guy who was a national winner wrestler, right? But he never ended up going to do like the Olympics or I think they're called the Commonwealth.
So this
Games.
isn't like a Mickey Rourke type of the wrestler where he's doing.
No, this is actual true wrestling.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Real wrestling.
And so anyway, the cool thing is he basically. When he was young, he won medals for himself. His ultimate goal was to win medals for the country, but he never got that opportunity, right? So the whole thing is, hey, I am going to have a boy, and I'm going to raise this boy as a wrestler, and my boy is going to win gold for our country, right? And so they go and they get him and his wife. They go to have a child. They end up having 4 children, and every time it's like, the entire village is participating because they're waiting to see his son. He has 4 daughters, right? And this guy is like, he's passionate about this, right? This is all true story, by the way.
This is great. I love this. Yeah.
True story. And so anyway, he has 4 daughters. Everything's just broke now, right?
Yeah.
Like he's never going to fulfill his dream until one day his 2 daughters come home and they're in trouble because they beat the snot out of these 2 boys that were bigger than them. And then he realized that they got their strength from him, right?
Yeah.
And so he ends up, it's really this whole thing. It's a whole tale of, women can't do the same things guys can do, and they don't let them participate. Well, he has such a big name that he kind of just keeps pushing that fact. And he finally gets them into where they're doing like this mud wrestling in all these villages, and they're whipping these boys' rear ends, that are way bigger than them. And ultimately they go on to participate in the I can't remember which year it was, like 2010 Commonwealth Games. And it was a huge event. I mean, it was, and you see the emotions that goes between, because he was coaching his daughters and he's coaching them in this, raw form that made him so good, right?
Yeah.
Well, then they go to like the official training, and now they got a new coach. Well, this coach doesn't know what he's talking about, so you see like that whole piece to it. But another thing, again, these are in a different language. They're also like 2 hours and 45 minutes long. So I mean, it's a long piece. And if you ever watch Indian films, they love song and dance. So you get a nice little.
This one has song and dance too?
Oh heck yeah, every one of them does.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
and it's
why
fun.
wouldn't you though?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
No, it's fun. It's actually, the more I've probably watched in the last couple of weeks, I've probably watched 4. I think Bollywood films, and they're great.
Yeah,
I absolutely love them.
All is well.
Yeah. So anyway, I would highly recommend that. That was actually, I think, the highest on our list. You can watch a ton of Indian films on Netflix. So that's where this one is. This is an 8.4 on IMDb.
That's
high.
That's real high. Yeah.
So highly recommended. It is a fantastic story, true story. Anyway.
See, I was in when you was talking about it originally, but like you talk about that story about the girls and like I didn't realize that's what it was about. I didn't realize, but I love that line of thought process. I love it. I love the
Yeah, if you enjoy
women
that
can type of thing. Like I love that.
well, if
Girl
you
power.
if you enjoy that, I would say look up Amir Khan. And there's I watched a movie called PK, which was really fun. This was like a human type of
Human centipede.
No. He's an alien, but he's like a human like alien, and basically doesn't know anything about Earth and humans, and so he's basically asking all these questions like a kid as an adult, and it's kind of a really fun little ploy.
Fish out of water.
Yeah, a little fish out of water.
Yeah.
Really a lot of fun. But yeah, like I said, any of those movies starring Amir Khan, I would go watch them. They're great.
Absolutely.
You just got to have a lot of time, though. Man, they eat up an entire evening for me.
Yeah, I feel like they're just the Zack Snyder of movie making because I haven't seen an Indian film yet that isn't at least 2.5 hours long.
No. So I mean,
but do they have to focus on people's faces so much as they do the same thing for 10 minutes?
Yeah, we were just talking about the Army of the Dead before this, and we'll probably talk about that in depth a little bit more. But I mean, Zack Snyder he takes up too much time.
Yeah, he's very full of his himself.
Justice League was good though, and I was actually happy with
the Snyder cut was great.
The length.
I loved it, but also, and a lot of times it's like, do we have to watch this part of it like so much? Like the scene where the Flash stops, helps Rose. When the bus crashes, all that stuff. I'm like, do we have to go through every single aspect of it? Like, come on, man.
The worst scene ever for me on that is the original Blade Runner, which I thought was a dog crap movie, by the way.
I'm going to watch that for a third time just to see if I'm missing something because people love it so much. And
people say they love it. I think it is literally, it would rank I would rank it a 4. Like it's a horrible movie in my opinion. But there is that one scene that I'm talking about the original Blade Runner.
Yeah.
There is that one scene that Harrison Ford walks from one end of the room to the other end of the room, and it takes like 15 minutes, and nothing happens besides, wait for it, he gets to the other side of the room.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff, and
I just don't get it.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, that was a good list.
Great list, I think.
Yeah, I think it was a great list.
Yeah, and like I said, they're all easily accessible. I just feel like pick one out, watch one, see what you think. And honestly, what you need to do is you need to watch Clint's list, those 5 movies and my 5 movies, and tell us which one's better because I would like to know because I feel like mine's better than yours. We're going to break it down.
I think that I look at yours and I look at mine. I would have to say that mine is a me list and yours is a you list.
It is.
I mean, I think that's really. I can't say that one's better than the other. I just think that they both,
Yeah, they're both special in their own way.
Yeah.
So my mom told my sister and I, you're both special in your own way.
Speaking of your mom, though, look how great these hats look.
One more time for the hats, yeah. The Below the Bluff Designs hats.
Below the Bluff
again,
Design.
look them on my face. But seriously, I don't know if you can put pictures up here of like some of the stuff. I'm just going to send you a few just because.
I probably can, yeah, right here.
Yeah. But like she does these really, she calls them primitive, where it's just basically reclaimed wood and uses them for like knife racks or whatever. It's super cool stuff.
Isn't that how Kayla describes you as well, right?
Yes, very primitive.
Very primitive,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Tim Allen reference.
Whoa. That's throwing it back.
No, his was just, that's what it was.
Yeah.
There it is.
What was that?
Home Improvement.
Home Improvement. There you go. Yeah. I'd like to go back and watch that again.
That is a show that I would watch from beginning to end, and I love every second of it because that is great.
I do want to also throw out one thing to our listeners and out there. Before we get off of our list, give us your top recommendations too. I mean, movies that you don't think that Chad and I have heard or watched. Throw it out there. Drop us a comment. Give us that recommendation, and then maybe we might go watch.
Yeah,
some.
honestly, I love it. And if it's above a 6.0, because you got to cut off somewhere. But if it's above a 6.0, I will put it on the list.
If it's under a 6.0, you just better have a really good comment.
Exactly. It better have something to do with Wolf Cop.
All right. One other thing I'd like to give a shout out.
Okay, shout out.
And a toast.
Shout out.
This is a little bit of a celebration. I would like to congratulate Cale Knisley in the completion of the entire MacGyver series.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
cheers to Cale.
Cheers to Cale.
Okay. Well, yeah, cheers. You gotta.
What?
The fact that he's watched MacGyver from episode 1. Well, actually, he watched it from like season 2 because he said he's just tuned it in and started there and watched season 2 from.
Now he actually physically recorded these on a DVR, right?
On his own. Yeah, he didn't even just stream them on Netflix or whatever. He actually went in and recorded them on whatever TV show or whatever channel they are, DVR'd them and recorded them all, and then watched them back. I didn't know anything about this. His wife told me, she's like, yeah, Cale's watching MacGyver right now, and him and I rode to a JC meeting. I talked to him about it. And, and then he goes off on a tangent about it. He's like, yeah. He's like, there's certain guys that are like, I'm like, because I asked him if they're like a recurring, like if they continue on to the next. So he's like, yeah, each season has like a theme, and you have one guy that's like the opposite MacGyver, like he's like the anti-MacGyver this shows up from here and here, and they're trying to do the same. Also Cuba Gooding Jr. got to start there. I learned a lot about MacGyver on that 30-minute drive, but yes. Cheers to Cale for finishing MacGyver.
Yeah, I mean that's effort.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll come out with a new season real soon. No, that's not going to happen. But
I don't know. Reunions are kind of in right now, so
they kind of are. Didn't they just do a new
like a Friends reunion,
and
right?
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, or is that coming out?
Yeah. No, yep, they did that as well. So. All right. Well, hey, this has been a fun journey here, talking about all these different movies and also Cale watching MacGyver. So with that, the credits are rolling.
Lights are coming on.
That's the end of the show.